Yesterday, President Obama and Vladimir Putin spoke at the UN.
The United States is prepared to work with any nation, including Russia and Iran, to resolve the conflict. But we must recognize that there cannot be, after so much bloodshed, so much carnage, a return to the pre-war status quo.
That President Obama. To talk all about their meeting is Aaron Katersky. Aaron, it seemed like it was a frosty meeting between the two world leaders.
You know, at least they clinked glasses at the annual UN luncheon and toasted each other, and they shook hands. We only saw a photo. If it was frosty, at least it was substantive, because they met for much longer than either side anticipated. It was an hour meeting scheduled. It went longer than an hour and a half, and when it ended, President Putin said the discussion was constructive, businesslike, and frank, and American officials agreed. So whether they actually solved anything doesn't seem like there was a significant breakthrough, but the fact that they were at least talking face-to-face for the first time in 2 years seemed like it was significant.
Do we have any other information coming out of that meeting? What was discussed and or how it was discussed?
Most of the conversation was on Ukraine and Syria. And remember, the two men had just finished outlining vastly different strategies for dealing with the crisis in Syria. President Putin was going to back Syrian President Assad militarily, saying it was the only viable government available and the only viable force to combat ISIS. President Obama said there could be no return to the status quo that existed before ISIS, because the Assad regime is what begot ISIS in the first place, by killing its own people. So they have a very different view of the way forward. And the president also generally prefers a diplomatic approach where President Putin made clear he was willing to use military force.
Putin announced some type of agreement between Iran and Russia and some of the other partners in the Middle East, which I guess was a shock to the U.S. Did they talk about that at all?
Oh, I think they probably did. The shock came because the intelligence sharing agreement involved Iraq and Russia and Syria, and the Obama administration wants the Assad regime out of the equation. So I think it was caught off guard. They were also caught off guard when Russian warplanes started circling over Latakia, Syria, and so the two militaries, at the very least, both involved in airstrikes in the region, need to at least figure out a way to stay out of each other's path.
Aaron Katersky, following the President Obama-Vladimir Putin meeting in New York yesterday. Aaron, thanks for checking in.
Thanks, McGraw.
727 here at Big 550 KTRS. You're looking for a